Hey guys, tonight we step barefoot onto the sun-soaked stones of a Cretan prison, tucked deep within the palace walls of King Benos. The light filters through narrow slits in the stone, casting warm gold lines across the dust in the air. You can hear the soft flap of feathers, actual feathers being sorted, measured, and laid out by a man whose genius was both gift and curse. You're trapped with him, a prisoner, not by chains, but by politics, pride, and an angry king who doesn't take betrayal lightly. You're Daedalus's child now, and your father's got a plan. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And I'd love to know, where are you listening from and what time is it there? Drop it in the comments. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. You sit beside Daedalus as he works. The smell of melting beeswax drifts lazily through the air, blending with the briny tang of the sea outside. You can't see it, but you can hear the gulls. The door is sealed. No one comes in. No one leaves. It's been that way for what feels like forever. Daedalus doesn't speak much, not anymore. Not since the whole Minotaur situation. You know the story, or maybe just the ending. The one where Daedalus builds a maze so cunning that no one escapes it, not even its own creator. Historians still argue whether the labyrinth was real or metaphor, but one thing's for sure, it made Daedalus famous, or infamous. Same thing, really. And now, that fame is what keeps you both locked up. Each day is the same. You help your father pluck bird feathers, sort them by size, line them up along strips of carefully shaved wood. It's strange being part of something so delicate. The wings look almost like they belong to a god. Not that Daedalus is making them for gods. No, this is for mortals. For you. The room is littered with failed prototypes, wings that broke mid-flap, wax that melted too quickly, frames that snapped with the gentlest breeze. The man is a perfectionist, and you've learned not to talk when he's thinking. The silence is filled with soft sounds, the hiss of steam from the wax, the scratch of a knife shaving wood, the occasional muttered curse in ancient Greek. One time, he actually threw a failed wing out the window. It fluttered for a second, then fell like a stone into the courtyard. No one even noticed. King Minos is too busy pretending the labyrinth never existed. Easier to forget monsters when you've locked away their creator. You don't know if the plan will work. But then again, nothing else has. Not too close to the sun, Daedalus finally says, almost like he's talking to himself. You glance at him. He's not looking at you, he's watching the latest pair of wings. And not too close to the sea either. The salt will ruin the feathers. You nod. You've heard this warning before. You'll hear it again. What no one ever tells you about Daedalus is how scared he looks when he says things like that. Like he knows how fragile genius is. Like he understands that brilliance is no shield against loss. He tests the movement of the wing against the breeze from the window, watches it respond, like a living thing. You wonder if he's proud. You wonder if he's afraid. What does it take for a man to believe flight is possible? Maybe desperation, maybe madness, maybe a son who believes in him more than the world ever did. There's a small, strange comfort in knowing this moment will become myth, that people will someday tell stories about it around fires or whisper it into the ears of children who dream of flying. They'll remember Daedalus as the inventor, the genius, the builder of impossible things. And you, well, you're just getting started. Outside, the gulls call again. This time, one swoops close to the window, white wings flashing in the sunlight. You both look up at it. Daedalus smiles. He sees something in that bird. Freedom, maybe. Or confirmation that he's not entirely mad. Tomorrow, he says. You blink. Tomorrow, he nods. The winds will be calm. We'll try it then. You don't sleep much that night. Not because you're scared, but because your heart won't stop beating fast, like it already knows it's about to take off. And you probably won't survive this. But gods, what a way to go. You wake with the dawn, the light already too bright and sharp as it slices through the window slits. Your skin feels tight, your muscles wired with a kind of nervous energy you didn't know you were capable of holding. Daedalus is already up. Of course he is. You find him heating wax over a small flame, testing its texture with careful fingers, adjusting the ratio like a master alchemist. He doesn't say good morning. He says, hold still. You do. He binds the wooden frame to your arms first, smooth sanded shafts that run the length of your forearms and curve out gently like ribs. He threads in the larger feathers near the base, the smaller ones fanning out toward the tips. They rustle as he moves. You feel their ticklish, almost alien presence brushing your skin. Then comes the wax. It's warm and smells oddly comforting, like honey and candles. He smooths it where feather meets frame, fixing everything into place. The wings take shape like something alive, like they've been waiting for this body, your body, to finally make them real. Keep your arms steady, he mutters. If they sag now, they'll sag in the air. You nod, biting the inside of your cheek. Daedalus repeats the process for himself, though his movements are slower, more practiced. You catch him glancing your way, his eyes flicking between concern and pride, like he can't decide which one fits today. You remember the rules, he says, fastening the final strap at your wrist. Not too high, not too low. Follow me. You nod again, and this time you say it out loud. I remember. The plan is deceptively simple. Walk to the edge of the tower, leap when the wind lifts. Flap steadily. Stay above the sea, but beneath the clouds. Land on the nearest island that looks like it won't kill you. Sounds easy. Looks impossible. And yet, here you are walking up narrow stone steps with wings strapped to your arms. The tower smells of mildew and bird droppings. Pigeons have made their homes in the cracks, cooing sleepily as you pass. The breeze grows stronger with each step, and when you reach the top, it's like stepping into a different world. The sea spreads out endlessly below, blue, shimmering vast. The horizon hums like a living pulse. Daedalus steps to the edge and extends his wings. The wind catches them instantly, fluttering the feathers like 100 small flags. He nods once. Watch me. Then he jumps. There's no ceremony, no dramatic pause. Just one smooth movement, a blur of motion, and then he's flying. Actually flying. The wings beat the air slow and steady. He dips, slightly adjusts, then glides. You stare, mouth open. Then you look down at your own feet. The stone feels too solid now, like an anchor. You take a breath, then another, and then you jump. The first few seconds are chaos, wind in your ears, stomach lurching into your throat, arms flailing. But then something clicks. You tilt. The wings shift. You feel air catch beneath them, pushing you upward. It's real. It's working. You're flying. The wind rushes past your face, cool and salt-sweet. Your heart pounds, but not from fear. This is joy. Pure, terrifying joy. You look ahead. Daedalus is a black dot against the blue sky, motioning for you to follow. So you do. Below you, the island of Crete shrinks, its twisted coastline curling like a sleeping cat. Villages dot the landscape, smoke rising from chimneys, utterly unaware that 2 former prisoners have taken to the skies. One small bird flutters beside you for a moment, startled, confused, and then gone. You laugh. There's something poetic about it all. Historians still argue whether Daedalus actually invented working wings or if this whole thing was an allegory. But as you ride, the wind muscles trembling, feathers humming, you decide the truth doesn't matter. What matters is how it feels, and right now, it feels like freedom. But freedom has its rules, and Daedalus gave you one. Don't go too high. You try to stay level with him, but something in you itches. The higher you climb, the lighter your body feels. The air thins just a little. The wind grows colder, and your wings feel stronger with each beat. The sun above gleams like a coin, just out of reach. Daedalus waves again, a sharp gesture. Come down. But your body isn't listening. Your soul is curious. You want to see how high these wings will take you. So you keep rising and rising. The air is thinner up here, crisper, like biting into a green apple. The sea below has turned a deeper blue no longer. The friendly waves lapping at the shores of Crete, but a vast, unknowable expanse. Islands are mere freckles on the surface now. Daedalus is a speck behind you, calling your name, though the wind steals his words before they can reach your ears. But you keep climbing. The sun's warmth becomes more insistent the closer you get. It's not harsh yet, just golden and inviting, like the glow of a hearth fire. You imagine Apollo up there reclining in his chariot, watching you approach with a raised eyebrow. maybe amused, maybe curious, or maybe annoyed that someone dared to visit his front porch without an invitation. You stretch your arms wider, tilt your back, and let the current carry you higher. Beneath you, Delos slides past sacred to Apollo and Artemis, home to temples and quiet dreams. You recognize it only because your father taught you the map of these islands from memory. Samos comes next, ancient and green, a place where philosophers once argued beneath fig trees. They say Pythagoras was born there, which feels oddly appropriate now, soaring through the sky like a walking equation in motion. Your stomach growls. You've been flying longer than you thought. There's something euphoric about it, though, a sense of detachment. You're no longer a boy, no longer a prisoner. You're something else now, something liminal, winged, wind-wrapped, and whispering through the high places of the world. But as you beat your wings steady, rhythmic, you notice something strange. The wax between the feathers feels different, softer, stickier. You ignore it at first. Probably the heat, or maybe just your imagination. You angle yourself a little higher. The sunlight is brighter now, almost dazzling. It bathes, your skin reflects off your wings, turns your shadow into a bird-shaped blur on the sea below. That's when the first feather falls. Just one, a small one near your elbow. It spirals down, slowly catching the sun as it twirls. You blink, then shake your arm gently. A second feather slips loose, and a third. You glance over your shoulder. Tiny white fragments of down trail behind you like snow in reverse. Your stomach flips not from altitude this time, but something colder. You flap your wings more urgently, trying to regain altitude, or maybe to outrun gravity itself. But something has changed. The wax is melting. You can feel it now, warm and sticky, seeping through the seams where feathers once held tight. It drips against your skin, and you can't help but wince. The wings grow lighter, but not in a good way. You look down. Far below, Daedalus is circling, smaller than before, panicked now. He gestures wildly. You can't hear him, but the motion is unmistakable. Come down. You try to dip your wings to descend gently, but the wings don't respond the way they did. They sag. The balance is off. You're tilting. Your right arm feels heavier, the feathers gone slack. Still, you fight it. You level out for a moment, catch a breeze, glide just long enough to fool yourself into thinking it might still be okay. But then the sun hits your back fully, and the wax gives way. The entire left wing shudders. A cluster of feathers detaches all at once. You spin slightly, fighting to compensate, flapping harder with your other arm. It's no use. You're fluttering now, not flying. Gliding has become flailing. The sky isn't your friend anymore. Another feather falls this time, brushing past your cheek as it goes. It's Beautiful, really. Historians still argue whether Icarus's fall was a warning or a celebration. Was it a tale of arrogance punished or ambition honored? Some say it's a story about a boy who didn't listen. Others believe it's about a dream that dared to reach too far. You don't have time to decide. Your body begins to dip slowly at first, then faster. The wind picks up, rushing past your ears. The sea is rising to meet you now. It no longer looks peaceful. It looks hard. Final. The wings are unraveling. So, you close your eyes, not in fear, not in regret, but in awe, because for one moment you flew, and the sun saw you. The world turns quiet the moment you break through the final layer of sky and drop into gravity's waiting arms. You're falling, yes, but strangely, it doesn't feel like falling. It feels like floating in reverse, like the sea has been waiting for you, rising gently to gather you back into the realm of mortals, back into the myths they whisper at twilight. The sun just seconds ago, so warm and golden, fades behind you, smudged by your spinning vision. Feathers scatter around you, dozens now, maybe hundreds, white and gray and soft, like snow shaken loose from the robes of the gods. They twirl beside you in slow motion, beautiful little betrayals. The wax, now useless, trickles down your arms in thin, hot lines. It burns less than you thought it would. Honestly, you expected more fire, more agony. But no, just warmth, wind, and a strange sense of stillness inside the chaos. You're not screaming. There's no point. There's no one to hear. Daedalus watches from a distance, his silhouette frozen mid-flap. The father who warned you, loved you, taught you how to fly, who made wings but couldn't make you afraid. The sea rushes closer. You see its surface now, a shimmering mirror of the sky. You think oddly of olive oil poured from a jar, smooth, reflective, waiting, then impact. Not a crash, not an explosion, just a deep, enveloping sound, like a sigh. The sea doesn't shatter, it swallows. You slip beneath the surface like a coin tossed into a fountain, down, down, into the cool, quiet dark. The salt stings your eyes, your nose. Everything is a blur of blue and bubbles. You reach out instinctively, but your arms are bare now, just skin, no wings. They floated off somewhere above, trailing in your wake. The pressure builds as the sea pulls you deeper, folds over you like a heavy blanket. For a heartbeat, you think this is it, that this is where your story ends. But the sea has its own plans. Far above, Daedalus circles. He's shouting, though no one can hear. He doesn't descend. He can't. The old man knows better than to tempt fate twice in the same day. But his eyes scan the water, searching for your splash, your shadow, your sun-shaped absence. He will not find you, not easily. But the sea remembers. The locals will tell stories. They'll say a boy fell from the sky and vanished beneath the waves, that the sea grew still afterward like it was morning. Some will claim the gods took your body. Others will swear they saw a bird rise from the foam. Eventually, they'll name the place where you fell, the Icarian Sea. They'll mark it on maps. Sailors will cross it and whisper blessings just in case. It'll become one of those places where myth clings to water, where your name is tangled in currents, and still historians argue. Some insist the whole story was metaphor, that Daedalus was never real, or if he was, he couldn't have possibly built working wings from wax and feathers. They'll analyze the symbolism debate, the physics cite ancient texts, but none of them have felt what you felt: the wind singing through your feathers, the sun warming your back, the moment when sky and soul became the same thing. You sink deeper, everything slows, and then stillness. Not fear, not pain, just a strange glowing peace, like sleeping in warm water, and then light, faint at first, then brighter, not from above, but within. It pulses softly gold and warm like a heartbeat, wrapped in sunlight. You don't know where you are now. Maybe it's death, maybe it's a dream, or maybe the gods caught you after all. But you're not alone. Something stirs in the dark. Not a monster, no teeth, no terror. Just a whisper of movement, like a fish slipping past, or a god with a gentle hand. And far above, Daedalus begins to drift toward Sicily, tears drying in the wind, unsure if he's lost a son or created a legend. You've become something else. Time doesn't pass the same way beneath the waves. Up on the surface, Daedalus keeps flying. His arms ache, his breath comes shallow, and every beat of his wings is weighed down by a silence that screams louder than any storm. He lands on the southern tip of Sicily, exhausted, broken, not in body, but in soul. The locals find him, feed him, offer him a place to rest. They've heard rumors, whispers of two flying figures seen from fishing boats. A boy and a man circling the sky like gulls, then only one. The fishermen say the younger one fell, vanished. The water barely rippled. Daedalus says nothing for days. He walks the shoreline with bare feet, tracing the water's edge like it might give you back. He builds nothing, not at first. No tools, no sketches, no bronze mechanisms whirring in the corners. Just silence. He listens to the wind and watches the horizon. And one night, under a moon that hangs too low and too bright, he finally speaks. Fly too low, the sea swallows you. Fly too high. He doesn't finish the sentence. Instead, he starts to build again. This time, not wings, a temple. The locals are confused. What god is this for? What altar is he shaping? But he doesn't carve Apollo's name, or Zeus's, not even Athena's. He carves yours, a shrine to Icarus, boy of flight, boy of fire, boy of impossible dreams. The island becomes your memorial. Pilgrims begin to arrive. Poets write verses. Children are named after you. Artists paint your wings on stone walls, imagining what it must have looked like when you soared. Some depict you as a cautionary tale, melting mid-air arms, flailing body twisting downward like a fallen star. Others paint you triumphant, surrounded by sunbursts, your face serene, untouchable. They don't agree on the ending. Historians still argue whether Daedalus actually built such a temple or if it was a later invention, a myth layered on myth. Some say it was real, and that Daedalus poured the rest of his life into it, carving every stone by hand. Others claim he fled further west, trying to forget everything. The truth probably lies somewhere in between. But your name remains, etched into stone, whispered into waves, and beneath the sea, yes, there you are, still suspended in that soft blue silence. And you are not alone. The light grows brighter. Shapes gather near you, not human, not quite gods, but something ancient. Ocean spirits, perhaps, or dream fragments left behind by Poseidon himself. They do not speak, but you understand them anyway. They recognize you. You are the one who tried, the one who wanted more, and they respect that. So they offer you something strange, a place among them, a life beneath the waves, not as a boy, not as a mortal, but as something else, something quieter, eternal, a story told in currents. And you accept. What else is there to do when the world above has already decided how your tale ends? In time, Daedalus dies. Some say in Sicily, some say in exile, but no one forgets him or you. You, the boy who flew, not the boy who fell. And long after the sea has swallowed your body, your name still floats like a featherlight, lingering, carried from wave to wave, story to story. Centuries pass, and the myth mutates, softened by time, rewritten by poets, reimagined in marble, oil paint, and whispered lullabies. Your name, Icarus, becomes a symbol, not just of a fall, but of a yearning, a reaching. Children learn your story in hushed tones before bed eyes wide as they imagine the sky parting above them. Parents warn, don't fly too close to the sun, but secretly, they hope their children do, just once. Because the truth is, you became something dangerous. Not dangerous in the way swords are, but dangerous like ideas. You became the embodiment of what if. The question whispered by dreamers who stare too long at clouds or who take too many risks. You're the flutter in the chest that says, what if I could do it anyway? Back in Athens, philosophers debate you. Plato references Daedalus in his dialogues. Some scholars claim Daedalus represents reason and you unrestrained passion. Others Think you're both flawed, incomplete halves of a more complete tale. One obscure theory recorded in the margins of an old scroll claims Daedalus created the wings not to escape, but to test humanity's limits. That you were never meant to survive. You were the experiment. Historians still argue whether that was ever the point, whether this story is a parable of pride or a celebration of defiance. The temples decay, the paintings fade, but your wings, your fall remain. And every once in a while someone tries to follow. In Florence, Leonardo sketches contraptions eerily similar to what you wore: wooden wings, curved spines, feathered canopies. He claims not to be inspired by myth, but come on, the resemblance is too uncanny. Somewhere in the corner of one page in tight handwriting, he writes, "Let the dream of Icarus live." Much later, hot air balloons rise over Paris, then gliders, then airplanes, then rockets, each one a feather on a new kind of wing. Engineers and astronauts rarely speak your name, but they carry it. They build flight from the bones of your story. A test pilot breaks the sound barrier and grins like a boy with wax on his arms. A cosmonaut floats in zero gravity, staring at Earth like it's a childhood memory, and somewhere etched into the side of a probe hurtling past Mars is the phrase per aspera ad astra, through hardship to the stars. You never touched the stars, but your fall pointed the way. Somewhere out there, a child lies in bed listening to your story, not afraid, not deterred, but electrified. They close their eyes and imagine their own version of wings of escape, of rising above everything that tries to pin them down. That's your legacy, not the sea, not the splash. The spark, the gentle ignition of curiosity in those who are told to stay grounded, stay safe, stay small, but who choose not to. The sea still murmurs your name. Waves curl over the spot where you vanished, folding you into their rhythm like a lullaby with no final note. And though you are gone, you are not lost. And now, long after your bones have dissolved into salt and story, we arrive at the quietest part of your myth, the part no one ever writes down, because every legend needs an end, but some don't get one. Not really. Somewhere in the blue hush between Sicily and Delos, the sea holds your memory gently, as if it knows it's carrying something fragile. Fishermen still glance over their shoulders when the wind shifts, claiming they hear the soft flap of wings above them, a whisper in the sky, a rustle in the foam. They don't speak of it loudly. They just nod to each other, and to the sea, and to you. Below, in a place sunlight doesn't reach, the shape you've become glides between shipwrecks and coral gardens. You're no longer bound by breath or bone. You're dream stuff now, memory matter, a story given form, drifting gently, wings trailing behind like seaweed made of starlight. You watch the world above with a kind of peace you never had when you were alive. You see the storms come and go. You see children fly kites on beaches, their laughter echoing like birdsong. You watch the sailors pass overhead, some quiet, some rowdy none aware that the waves beneath them carry a myth just beneath the surface. And every now and then, someone dives too deep. They don't mean to. A swim gone too far, a net thrown too wide, a search for treasure, and they see you just for a second. They come back changed, unable to explain it, haunted not by fear, but by wonder. They write poems, they paint strange shapes, they start stories with, "You'll never believe what I saw." Back on land, statues crumble. Books yellow and curl, but your wings stay clean untouched, flaring out like silent prayers in the deep. And somewhere always, someone new is dreaming of what it's like to fly, to rise, to fall, to become. Because the truth is, you were never just a warning. You were the first to say, "What if I could?" And gods, what a beautiful question that is. So now, dear dreamer, it's time to let go of the sun and of wings and of waves that remember. Let the rush of wind fade into hush, 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 like the sea at low tide smoothing the edges of your thoughts. The sky dims now, its gold turned to velvet blue, and the feathers that once danced around you settle quietly to the floor of your mind. You're floating again, but this time it's weightless, effortless, slow. There's no need to rise or fall. Just drift in and out. Breathe in the warmth of wax, the salt of the sea. Breathe out the fear, the fire, the falling. You've already flown, and that's enough. There's no need to chase the sun now, no need to race the wind. Tonight, the wings fold gently around you like a blanket of dreams, light and safe and still. The sea sings lullabies in a voice older than God's. The stars blink slowly overhead, keeping watch. And your name, yes, your name is spoken softly in the language of tides and stories and sleep. Icarus, rest now, little flame. You dreamed, you dared, you flew, and now you rest.